Hello, and welcome to another vlog. This week's theme is cerebral palsy. As you may have guessed, I will be releasing a video on Thursday in which I talk more about cerebral palsy. What is it? What are the different types of the condition? What are the symptoms? And what treatments are available for people living with the condition? But today I want to talk about a couple of other things. First, I want to talk about my good friend Alicia LeBlanc, who lives with cerebral palsy. And I also want to talk about some of the different ways in which cerebral palsy can affect the body. Now, those of you watching may have noticed that I have a lot of friends with disabilities, but I assure you, not everyone with disabilities knows each other. So, the first thing I want to talk about is my friend Alicia. Now, I don't want to talk about her because she has cerebral palsy. I want to talk about her because of the accomplishments that she's made. Specifically, the fact that she wrote this book called My Challenging Life with Cerebral Palsy. Now, as the name suggests, the book talks about what it's like to grow up and live with a condition like cerebral palsy. Now, this book is special for a number of reasons. Not only is it a very personal look into Alicia's private life, which in itself is very personal, she also wrote the book using just one finger. So I want you to think about that for a second. How much patience and dedication it requires to write a 100+ page book using just one finger. That's not an easy thing to do, but Alicia can say that she's done it. And of course, she has a book to go with it. So I want to read something that Alicia wrote. I can't read all of it because I don't have time in this short video. So I'm going to read you a couple of paragraphs just to give you an idea of who Alicia is and what her writing style is. So here's what it says. Hi, my name is Alicia LeBlanc. I'm 27 and I have a disability called cerebral palsy. What is cerebral palsy? Cerebral palsy is an umbrella term that refers to a group of disorders affecting a person's ability to move. It is due to damage to the developing brain either during pregnancy or shortly after birth. Cerebral palsy affects people in different ways and can affect body movement, muscle control, muscle coordination, muscle tone, reflex, posture, and balance. Although cerebral palsy is a permanent, lifelong condition, some of these signs of cerebral palsy can improve or worsen over time. People who have cerebral palsy may also have visual impairments, learning, hearing, speech, epilepsy, and intellectual impairments. In my case, I have spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy with athetoid. What that all means in English is that I have fluctuation in my muscle tone. All 4 of my limbs are affected, which causes me to have involuntary movements. I need help with things such as getting in and out of bed, getting showered, changed and doing my personal care, getting fed and having my meals made for me, relying on people to take me places, and a million other things. When were you diagnosed? I was diagnosed at 9 months old. My parents noticed I couldn't do anything for myself, not even holding my head up. So they took me to the IWK Children's Hospital and the doctors did a bunch of tests on me and found out I had cerebral palsy. They prepared my parents for the worst. For example, I may never know them. I would be a vegetable in bed all my life and be fed by a tube. The doctors usually always prepare the parents for the very worst because they just don't know and wouldn't want to get their hopes up for nothing because in some cases it does happen. But they were wrong, as you can see me right here. So that's some of Alicia's own words, and she talks about a lot of this stuff in her book. She actually goes into more detail where she talks about how she accepted the diagnosis, what it was like growing up and going to school. She talks about some of the stereotypes she faces on a regular basis, and she also talks about her life today. So if you want a copy of the book, go on our Facebook page, Squeaky Wheel Productions Facebook page, to find out how you can get a copy. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about. Now, like I said, the next thing I want to talk about is some of the different ways in which cerebral palsy can affect the body. Now, I'm going to be talking about the different types of cerebral palsy in Thursday's video, so tune in if you want to learn more about that. But there are also words that explain which parts of the body are affected by cerebral palsy. And since I won't be talking about that in Thursday's video, I thought I should talk about it today. So there's 3 different ways in which cerebral palsy can affect you: hemiplegia, diplegia, and quadriplegia. So hemiplegia means that it affects limbs on one side of the body. It can affect either the arm or the leg, or both, but it's only affecting the limbs on one side of the body. Diplegia means that it affects limbs on both sides of the body, but it usually affects the legs the most. And then there's quadriplegia, which means it affects all of the limbs, which is the kind of cerebral palsy that Alicia said that she has. And it can also affect the mouth and face. So to recap, there's hemiplegia, which affects one side of the body, diplegia, which affects both sides of the body, but mostly the legs, and quadriplegia, which essentially affects the entire body. So those are some of the different forms of cerebral palsy. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching, and see you on Thursday.